Welcome to another episode of the Commerce Lab by Ecomcy. My name is Vincenzo Toscano, founder and CEO of Ecomcy. And today we bring you Vince Montero, which is actually the product marketing manager at Adtomic from Helium10, an amazing tool when it comes to managing your PPC campaigns. And very excited to see what is coming for this platform. I mean, we've seen a lot of things already in social media, YouTube channels, and anything, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna surprise us today with some new features, which I can't wait, to be honest. So let me introduce you, Vince. Thank you very much for being here in the show. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm good. Thanks for having me on. And yeah, there have definitely been some exciting changes to Atomic recently. So really, and including something that your viewers are going to be the first to see. So yeah, definitely excited to share some of the latest things that we've been developing. I've been working on Atomic since well before it launched. So I've been with Helium10 since late 2019, so quite a
Yeah.
while now. And my focus has always been on helping Amazon sellers with their PPC. So this is kind of the culmination of all that work that I've been doing for many years,
Yeah.
even before I came to Helium10.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I've been following your work for a very long time. As from the moment you joined Helium10, I see the huge changes you brought to the platform. And when I saw Adatomic being announced for the first time, it was those moments I see finally Helium10 is jumping into PPC,
Yes.
which we know PPC is one of the most important things when it comes to Amazon businesses, but it's also the part that people struggle the most, right? So I think
Oh yeah.
having now everything on the same place, all within the same account, you have the tools for finding your keywords, the tools to understanding your profitability, and then to do PPC is amazing. So can't
Yep.
really wait to see what you're gonna show us today. I know you're gonna be doing some kind of demo,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm going looking forward to it, to be honest.
Yeah, so I'm just going to go through in each section of the tool or
Yeah,
a platform, I should call it. It's not really a tool; it's really an entire platform in of
for
itself.
sure.
So, because PPC, like you said, is very nuanced. So
Huge.
it's
Yeah.
the largest tool in Helium10's tool suite. So it's definitely more of a platform.
Yeah.
uh, and yeah, we've been doing some integrations with some of our other Helium10 tools, which I'll get into. But yeah, so I'm just going to go through each section. If you have any thing that you want me to clarify, I know that you've used the tool before. Happy to answer questions as I go. So I'm just going to start. I'm using the Project X account. So this is
Yeah.
basically Bradley Sutton's account. If you guys are used to hearing him on our podcasts, then he talks about his account and his product quite a bit. So I'm using that information in this demo, and this is actually live PPC data. So you're going to see lots of things in here that he probably should optimize, but I don't know why he doesn't. He has a tool to do it. But so let's just dive in. So in each page, you're going to see this little beta. So really, Atomic just recently went through a complete redesign.
Yeah.
We started in early this year, and we're just finishing up. We just finished up our last page of the redesign. So for those who might have had access to Atomic previously, this might look a little different too.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to show the new design. I'm not going to go back and forth because really we want people to start using this new design.
Yeah.
But
Which,
right
by
off,
the way, is sorry for interrupting.
no
Is
worries.
very nice. I love this new design. It's so clean.
Good.
Now with a single click, you can see everything in one single dashboard. Before I remember, it was a bit more all over the place, but now it's so
Yes.
perfect. Now I
Yeah, the
love it. So
dashboard
yeah,
is redesigned to really kind of highlight all the important metrics right away that are most
yeah,
important to PPC, most important to sellers. Obviously these are similar metrics to what you would get in Seller Central and the Ads Console, but we also have metrics that you don't see in the Amazon Ads Console, which is the total sales and the tacos metrics
very
there.
important. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
very, very important. So, this is something that we can do again because we are connected to what we call our profits tool. I think you mentioned that before. That Helium10 does have an entire suite of tools, but we're able to integrate some of these tools with each other, and really this information I feel is really important to the success of PPC campaigns, and it's also something that most sellers really don't pay attention to enough or at all in some cases.
Yeah.
So it was really great. This is one of the reasons why I came to Helium10 was actually for tool integration. So being able to show total sales and your total ACOS or your tacos metrics here, very, very important. And for those who may not be familiar with those terms, all we're really saying here is this is how much, I'm just looking at the past 30 days in this account. This is how much PPC was spent. This is how many sales that this account got just from PPC. But total sales is your PPC plus your organic sales. So we want to gauge the success of PPC, not just looking at PPC sales, but what was your total sales, which is that's the true success on Amazon, is your total sales, not just how many sales you got from PPC.
For sure.
So if you take that total sales number then and divide it by the PPC sales, then you get your total sales or your tacos. So at a high level, this is just the dashboard. So this is just looking at the entire account. So at the entire account, it's an 18.6% tacos, which is actually not that bad. There's another area where I'll go into that in our analytics section. But if you scroll down, you have a few metrics. The interesting thing here is that we added previous
super important. I love that.
So at a glance, again, I'm just looking at the past 30 days, which you can see here, but Adtomic will automatically show you the previous 30 days. So you can get a real quick snapshot across each metric. So I'm down in spend from that previous 30 days. I'm down, but I'm also down in sales in that previous period. So you can kind of gauge just at a snapshot of what you're doing. And it doesn't matter what time period you put in. So if I were to put in a longer period, it looks like I was looking at 60 days. So if I were to put in a longer period, it doesn't matter if
it just adjusts to that period you're looking at.
So it doesn't matter what I put in. If I'm going to look at, this is just a solid 2 months right here. So now it automatically, this is the past 2 months, this is the previous 2 months, right? Another thing that's important that I like to share is, I don't know why that's not moving, but we also can see up to 2 years worth of data. So depending on when you start using the tool, we will save that data for a maximum of 2 years. So this account probably has that information in it. So if I wanted to, I could go all the way back to last year. I could see what was happening last year in the account. This is really helpful for sellers that are selling the same product as maybe last Prime Day or last holiday. They can kind of go back in time, which you can't really do in Seller Central.
Just 2 months you can go back.
It's that the fact that you can go back that far is really important in a couple of key areas. But simply from, again, the benefit of being able to see how you did last year or last season, right? Or whatever it is. Maybe you ran out of stock for an entire month and you want to see where you left things off, go back, see where things are, maybe reset things up once you have things back in stock. So very, very helpful that we actually go back that far. Again, high level, we just show you, hey, what are your highest ACOS campaigns? You can see Bradley has quite a few. ACOS. Maybe we'll optimize some of these while we do this demo. The highest spend targets. Again, so these are just things that we want you to take a look at as a seller. You really should be interested in, hey, what are my highest ACOS campaigns? What are the keywords that I'm spending the most on? And this could be ASINs as well as keywords. Then we have a chart. If people like to look at their data in a chart, in a graph, you can go ahead and do that. I can flow over, the past 2 months and see exactly what happened with all these different metrics that I can change. And then at the bottom is kind of this is a static snapshot of PPC performance. So this is always last 7 days, last 30 month to date and year to date. So it doesn't matter what period is entered at the top. You'll always be able to look at the bottom and see, exactly what's happening in these time periods that are set. And this is actually really helpful for people that are using our mobile app. I've heard that people using our mobile app really, this whole dashboard is actually really helpful on mobile. And this is kind of where people just scan really quick just to see how they're doing. Our mobile app is really good for read-only access. You can't really do anything, optimize or changing, but it actually is pretty good at displaying the data. So that's another benefit of,
much better than the Seller Central one for sure.
It is. Got a little bit more to it than that version. So our analytics section also recently redesigned with a bunch of new filters, which I'll show you in a second. Analytics is, again, high level. So this is looking at your entire account from the perspective of if you had portfolios. I don't know if Bradley has portfolios, but this is where you kind of can group campaigns. If you want to just see things at a campaign level, you can click it there. If you want to see things that just, hey, what are all the ad groups in my account, right? Then it's there. What are all the keywords and targets in my account? What are all the search terms if you want to see product level? So this is really helpful in seeing everything that's happening in your account versus having to go into each campaign at a time and trying to gauge what is happening. So if you wanted to look at it at this level, obviously you can sort by spend, sales, ACoS, whatever metrics you wanted to look at, you can sort by, or you could drill down in our filters to get the data that you want, and then either go into the campaigns by clicking through and doing optimizations, or maybe exporting the data and doing something else with it. Exporting is really actually more useful in the search term section. So search terms I like to highlight simply because, number one, you saw how quickly I just pulled up 2 months worth of search terms.
Yeah.
So, which is unheard of in Seller Central. So there is no capability to just click on a button and see all your search terms. They do have a button that you can click and see all your targets, which is newer in Seller Central, which we have too right there. But the search terms really, when people are brand new to our platform and they already have campaigns running, this is where I tell them to go. I say, go to analytics, go to the search term level, because this is the lifeblood of your PPC account, right? This is exactly what people are typing in and what Amazon is connecting to your keywords. So really, when you're looking to optimize your PPC campaigns or your entire account, the search term level is really where you want to look. And again, if I were to go back in a longer period, doesn't matter what it is. If I could go to year to date, I would see search terms just within a few seconds.
Yes, for sure.
In Seller Central, you have to download the search term report, maybe save it in an Excel file, and then month to month data. Then you just save, you keep adding to that Excel file by downloading the reports, because that's unfortunately the way you have to do it right now. So that's a major benefit for a lot of sellers, saving a lot of time. So obviously, one of the main reasons that you'd want to look at your search terms is to find waste, find things that are not working for you. So we can see off the bat that, actually, let's just start by ACoS just to see if, see right away in the past 2 months, right, we've got this large coffin shelf, which has spent $51 and only made $31 or $32. So, this is probably something that is not doing well in the account.
That's right.
And right away, if I wanted to take action on this particular search term, I could just click this negative keyword button. Adtomic is automatically running through the entire account and looking for that search term, large coffin shelf. And so what it's showing me right now is this search term is associated with all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 campaigns. So in the past 2 months, it has appeared in 5 campaigns, and this is how it's doing. So obviously, sometimes this is helpful because maybe it's doing better in one account than another.
Yeah, it's super helpful. I was going to say that. I mean, the amount of time you save just by clicking the single button, because we know we do on a daily basis with our clients, is time server. I mean, you can definitely see all the campaigns. You can see that maybe in the automatic it's not performing, but the phrase match is performing.
Right.
And you can select. It's amazing for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And again, this is manually reviewing your data. So we make it super simple to do even that manual processes. But when I get into the ad manager, I'll show you how you can actually just create rules, and Adtomic will do this for you. It'll just kind of do what I'm showing you right now. But again, for people that are brand new to the tool, or for people that maybe don't like automation, if you don't want to do automation in your account, that's fine. You can still take advantage of all the ways in Adtomic doing things manually that are still a way quicker than trying to do them manually without
100%
without this tool. So in this example, I would probably make this just negative across the board, because you see 54 clicks, and no sales.
No sales.
68%. So this is something I would probably make negative. And if I wanted to, I could just do it right there. Click add that negative to these ad groups, and boom, it would just be done. Again, this is Bradley's account, so I'm not gonna mess
Let's
with
leave it to him.
But this is something that is super helpful. The other thing that you want to do is, when you're looking for waste, is really looking for things that have spent and no sales. So these filters are really, really advanced. So you can look at information broken down. You can look at your search terms broken down by just in a portfolio, maybe just a handful of campaigns that you want to select here, maybe specific ad groups. So we really give you the ability to drill down into your data, which is something that we kind of pride ourselves at here at Helium10, is the ability to really give you the data in the way that you want it. But simply when it comes to optimizing, all you're really looking for is things that are spending and not any sales, at least when we're talking about that. We just looked at high ACoS search terms. So the other one is what is spent. Let's see, Bradley's campaign is, let's say minimum of $4, because I don't think these products are worth or sell for that much. So again, depends on your margin. If you have a really expensive product, then maybe you can afford to spend a little bit more on a search term to see if it converts, right? So, but we're looking for a maximum of 0 orders, because we're looking for things that are with no sales. So it's automatically going to pull up every single keyword that has spent more than $4. And let's see, let's sort it by spend, since it was on ACoS before. And you've got which is pretty good. So not a lot. So there's not a lot of keywords. But again, these are keywords that you'd probably want to make negative, because they're spending and no sales, right? And that's really all optimizing is. If these were keywords, then we would say we either pause them or we reduce the bid.
That's right.
Which you can do as well in the target area. But again, I like to just showcase the search term level, because you can immediately go ahead and make things negative if you want to.
And check all the campaigns, which is super useful, especially if you want to avoid duplication and all that.
Yeah, exactly. And in that regard too, like this tool really kind of shows you, and again, you don't really have that much control over it, because these are search terms. So, but you can see how many times a search term is being referenced across your account, right? So you can actually really kind of gauge the performance. We actually have a search term detail page, which digs even further into that, and I'll show you that in a minute. But this again, this is a one at a time process. So if I wanted to, I mean, this is not that many examples, but I would go through one at a time potentially, and then make negative in the areas that I wanted to make negative. So that's, again, just a key element of optimization that you can do that Adtomic makes really super easy for you to do. In an analytics section, the only other area that I really like to showcase is the product level, because again, we pull in the total sales and tacos metrics here, right? So this is looking at the account again from each product. So one at a time, Bradley's got quite a few products in here. And one at a time, we're seeing that this top product right here, in 2 months, this is how much is spent for PPC. This is how much it made in PPC. This is the ACoS. However, we want to see the total sales here and the total ACoS. Now this is interesting. So you can see here, and this is also helpful. You can see here that the PPC sales is $3,000, right?
Yeah.
You can see total sales is $2,452.
Yeah.
How is that possible? How is your organic plus PPC sales less than your PPC sales? Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Well, this is highlighting that, and what sellers have to remember, and they often don't know this, is that this is the spend and sales for this ad, right? So a shopper clicked on the ad for this large coffin shelf, right? 21 by 11 inches. And there was a sale made. So as long as it's one of your products, Amazon attributes the sale of that product to that particular ad. So to that product, right? So that doesn't mean though that they bought that product. Maybe they bought another version. Maybe they clicked on this one, they bought a different color. So the actual total sales for this product is this line here. This is always going to be accurate. So what this is highlighting is that there are other versions of this product that are being purchased after somebody clicks on this particular ad for this particular product. So
basically they were looking at one specific advertisement that was a design. They went, saw the variations, and jumped to another variation, made the purchase.
Exactly. So that kind of gives you the ability to scan through here, right? Actually sort by what your highest sale product is, and then from the total sales perspective. And if you are not putting if you're putting less PPC to that product versus another product, I need to change my strategy. I'm actually selling more of this version than this version. So I'm going to move my PPC and focus on the one that is actually being sold more, right?
Super, yes.
So that's one benefit of looking at total sales on tacos. The other benefit is just checking to see how successful is my PPC going. One of the key reasons for doing PPC is that it does affect organic sales. Like we
Right.
see that continuously, that if you drop your PPC, eventually your organic sales start to drop, because when you're not top of mind anymore, which if you're not branding your product on the platform, which is what PPC is, then shoppers stop remembering you, and your organic sales most likely will be affected. So looking at the data in this way, what is the product I'm advertising, what is the sales from that ad, and then what's the actual total sales from that product, it'll really give you a better understanding of how your PPC overall is affecting your total sales. And generally speaking, what you're wanting to shoot for your tacos is like below 15%. So he's got a couple here that are pretty low. And if you do see that you have things that are below 15%, then actually, regardless of the ACoS, you can actually just throw more PPC at it, because you know that your total sales are really doing well. So that is something you want to actually make sure that you're driving PPC, or even driving PPC more towards.
Yeah.
So
100%. Yeah, we see that every single day. We have clients that the ACoS is very high, but when you see the tacos, it makes sense keep investing to PPC, right? So super useful to always focus on the tacos, right? And ACoS.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So our ad manager, which is the third area in our tool, this is the most similar to like your campaign manager in Seller Central. So, this is where you can edit, the title and pause it or enable it, or, all these things, change the budget. So, so I won't go into detail about all of that. The area that's different it's only in Adtomic is the columns in the far right-hand side. And that is these ones right here: bid algorithm, target value, bid automation, and rules. So this is where you can go really to effectively, for sellers that have campaigns already and they want to take advantage of Adtomic's suggestions for new and negative keywords. So effectively kind of doing what we just did in the analytics page, looking for those bad search terms automatically. We didn't look for good keywords, but we also, when you're optimizing, you also want to find search terms that are doing well, that maybe you're not targeting just yet, and you want to make sure you are then targeting those search terms manually. So you can do that for your existing campaigns just by creating a rule. So, I'll just quickly go through. There's only really two kinds of rules in our tool, and that is positive rule and negative. So things that I want to promote, search terms that are doing well, that I want to make, add to maybe another campaign to target, and then a negative rule, things that aren't working, and we just want to make that negative. So if you don't have any rules associated with a campaign, you just click add rule next to that campaign by clicking that little cog, and you just go through and you can add it. And it's very similar to how you would edit a rule. So I'll just go through it. You give it a name. You let Adtomic know what type of rule you're trying to create to find good search terms or find bad search terms. Right? That's, again, there's only two. You have the ability to automate. I do not suggest doing that until you actually see the suggestions that you get.
Yeah, for sure.
But once you do, if you like them, then you can come back and you can click the automate button. You have some filters here. If you want to make sure that only certain types of search terms are promoted. Again, this is the converting search term. Yeah, so this is the promotion rule. You might have certain words that you don't want to get promoted. Maybe you have a branded keyword campaign. So you got all your brand keywords in one campaign. So you don't want to see your branded keywords in other campaigns. Right? So this is where you'd put does not contain, you put your brand name. And then Adtomic will know, okay, I'm not going to promote any of the keywords that contain this particular word or brand name. Right. So the rules are, to me, they're pretty straightforward, but I understand how they can be confusing. So all we're saying is that Bradley added 7 campaigns. He clicked on add group. He added 7 different ad groups into one rule, right? So we've got a product targeting campaign, auto campaign, I don't know what this manual campaign, research means broad match keywords, proven means exact match keywords, another proven campaign, and a sponsored brand campaign. So, when you have one product, and especially if you're brand registered, you can have multiple campaigns. Now, you want to put them in the same rule because technically, if a search term doesn't work well for your product in one campaign, it's likely not going to work well for your product in another campaign. So we're looking, these check marks here just mean look at the search terms in all these campaigns because it's the same product, right? And in all these campaigns, if we find a search term that does well, that converts well, I want to make sure that I'm manually targeting it, manually adding it. If it's a good ASIN, then I want it to be added to this ASIN campaign. That's what this icon means, just ASIN. Auto campaign, I want you to look for search terms, but auto campaigns don't have keywords, so you can't add keywords into the auto campaign, and so on. You're just telling the tool ASINs if it's an ASIN based campaign, if it's a keyword based campaign, you're just telling the tool I want it to be added as a broad match. I want it to be added as an exact match, right? So once you do that, then Adtomic will automatically just look at all your search terms on a rolling 90-day period, find the stuff that works for you, and then tell you, hey, we found something, we should add it to these campaigns. And I'll show you what that looks like in the suggestions.
Sure.
So the other one is the negative, just to quickly show both types of rules. Again, you just put in a title. I like to put in a date here if I'm updating a rule. That way you know, oh, I changed this rule on this date. What was the performance? So there should always technically be a date here as a best practice. And again, you've got the contains filters here. So if you have, let's say for negative rules, this is super important. Let's say you have a rule, or let's say you have a keyword that you know does not perform well for you, right? But it has a lot of impressions. So it's valuable to you because of the impressions that it gives you.
Right.
So Adtomic doesn't know that. Adtomic just know, hey, this search term it does not convert. So it's going to suggest, hey, make this negative. This is where you come in and make sure I don't want to see this negative if it contains, whatever that keyword is that you want to maintain. It has bad ACoS, but visibility that you're getting from it is worth that high ACoS. Because at the end of the day, although what the tool is looking at is ACoS is, per keyword or search term in this example, the blended ACoS is really what's the most important thing in looking at an entire account.
For sure.
So in this example, we only have the proven. I don't know why. Technically, all the other campaigns that were in the other rule should also be in this rule.
Right.
That's why it has high ACoS, because he's not doing negative.
What is happening, Bradley?
Yeah. So I'll talk to him and let him know, hey, you really need the same campaigns you had in the positive rule should probably also be in your negative rule.
Yeah, you want to do the same interaction with the positive thing and the negative.
You want to look at all the search terms if it's the same product, right? Look at all the search terms in those campaigns, and then find the ones that are not working well, right? And then make sure it's added as negative. So in this example, obviously this is well, it doesn't matter. We're just saying make it a negative exact, right? You can choose phrase if you want. If it was an auto campaign or product targeting campaign, then you could also check this off to make sure that ASINs are added as negative if they apply. This is a keyword campaign, so you can't add an ASIN. So this is,
I think,
yeah.
Sorry for interrupting. I think it's also would be nice to mention that actually, if you go on the advanced tab, you can actually put the criteria when to choose a positive and negative one, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I didn't even go into the thresholds because that's kind of getting into a little bit more.
Yeah,
but,
because I know some people might ask themselves, what if I want to use my own rules? So it will be nice to, so you guys know that you can choose your own thresholds.
That's a great point. I was just going off of the fact that people would just use our algorithm. But if you did want to use your own algorithm, right, then you're right, Vincenzo, you can do that right here. In the positive rule, you can choose to say, Adtomic, I only want to promote search terms that have had at least 2 sales with a maximum ACoS of 30%. So it looks like Bradley does have that set.
Which is good.
And for the negative rule, same thing. You can either use the algorithm or you can use advanced settings. So he's not using the settings for negative. He's just using the Adtomic algorithm. So, but you could, if you had, this is helpful if you've got a high margin product, right?
Right.
High margin product means that you can spend more than other people.
More clicks.
More clicks, right? So the general rule of 10 clicks and no sales means that you should make negative. Generally speaking, that's a good rule. But if you've got 200% margin on a $200 product,
you can have 50, 80 clicks.
You can afford more clicks to see if you might get a sale, because 25 clicks on a $200 product, you get one more click, and that's still a super low ACoS. Right. So you can make adjustments. And in this example, then I'm glad you brought that up. If you do have high margin products, then you do probably want to set your own click thresholds or spend thresholds. So if you don't want to go on clicks, if you just want to say, if this search term spends $25 and no sales, that's okay. But if it spends $26 and no sales, that's when I want to see it as to be made negative, right? If you've got a low margin campaign or low margin product, you probably just want to use our algorithm, because our algorithm is really sensitive. It will find lots of bad stuff for you. Sometimes it's a little overly aggressive, but for brand new sellers that are really trying to maintain their budgets, aggressive is not that bad. And you can actually go through and just decide to take our suggestions or not take our suggestions. So before I get into the suggestions section, though, I do want to highlight just the capabilities of our campaign builder. So this is super helpful for sellers who haven't built any PPC campaigns yet, or maybe you're launching a new product. So we make it super simple to do that, and we build the rules into the campaigns if you use our tool. So you don't have to manually create the rules, but you should. If you've got campaigns running already and you come to Adtomic, you should just add them into rules. If you don't have any campaigns or want to launch new campaigns, you can build them in here, and then the rules are custom. They're added automatically. So Quick Builder, we have 2 types right now, soon to have 3 types. Quick Builder is simply for a seller who doesn't want to do keyword research. I don't recommend it, but if you're being lazy and you don't want to do any keyword research, go ahead and use the Quick Builder. That simply means that it's not going to ask for any keywords. We're just going to leverage the auto campaign, because we're going to build a set of campaigns, and we're just going to leverage that auto campaign to let Amazon find keyword search terms or ASINs that have worked. And if the tool finds that, then it promotes those search terms or ASINs into the other campaigns. So even though it's called Quick Builder, it takes a lot more time to ramp up. So I always just like to showcase the guided builder. Again, it means you do need to do some keyword research, but Helium10 has really great keyword research tools. So you should be doing your keyword research for your PPC.
100%.
To go into the guided, the other thing that it gives you is different campaign types, which we'll see in a second. So let's go ahead and put in a test name, Ecomcy. All right. So we got 3 different algorithms here. So you can choose from, which is different and not available in Seller Central. So if you're a brand new, if it's a brand new product or a brand new seller, you might want to take advantage of our launch bid algorithm, because when you launch PPC, your first and primary goal is collecting data. You really want to see how Amazon is looking at your product, what kind of targets it's associated with your product, what's converting, what's not converting. So when you launch, your first 2 to 4 weeks really should just be data collection, not about making sales, making revenue, or making more money in PPC than you're spending. It should really be about data collection. Then after that is about scaling the campaigns down, because you can't really scale things down if you don't have the data to scale it down.
100%.
So this is a great one, because it just tells the algorithm, focus on keywords that have really high impressions. If we find keywords that have high impressions, then we're going to increase the bids on those, regardless of how it performs. We're just trying to get exposure with this one. Scale is for products maybe that you've already ran before that have proven themselves, or maybe it's the progression from going from this phase to this phase. Once you have data, then that's when you start focusing on a target ACoS, right? When you have things enough to optimize down, then you can say, oh, I want a 20% ACoS, right? Or I want a 30% ACoS. So that's what scale is. It actually adjusts the bid algorithm to an ACoS. And liquidate is kind of the end of the life cycle of your product. Maybe you have a different version 2.0, version 3.0 coming out of your product, and you want to get rid of the original version. You can change this bid algorithm, and it will basically focus on keywords that have sales. So any keyword that has sales, it's just going to keep increasing the bid. It's going to find more, regardless of ACoS. So it doesn't matter if the ACoS is terrible. It's just trying to get the product sold. So both this one and this one are not based on ACoS. This one is based on ACoS, right?
Awesome. And I think the good thing, if I'm not mistaken, is that even if you launch it as a launch, afterwards you can within the campaign change it to scale or liquidate. So
exactly.
You can change it later.
So in the ad manager, I'll go back after this, and so you can literally launch your campaigns using this, and then 30 days later you could change it to scale. And then eventually over time, you can change all your campaigns in that rule to liquidate. So it really, we give you the opportunity to progress as you go if you're using our campaign builder. So I'm just going to randomly select a product here. And so this is the other key benefit of the guided builder. If you are brand registered, you can launch all 3 campaign types at the same time. So not only am I going to build out multiple sponsored product campaigns by clicking here, I can also add sponsored brand campaign, sponsored display campaign. I'll click sponsored display only because it's a lot quicker. Sponsored brand means you have to add a headline and a logo and an image. So this is just quicker for a comparison. So there you go. Boom, right away. I have the ability, if I were to launch this, to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 campaigns. So it's super quick. It's definitely something if you're brand new to PPC, or if you're trying to launch a new product on PPC, this is one key benefit. You don't have to build them one at a time. And again, if I launch this campaign set, all these are in a rule now, right? So the auto campaign, similar to how I showed you when building the rule, the auto campaign will talk to the research campaign. It'll talk to the performance campaign, the product target. And talk to, I mean, the tool is going to look at all the search terms, again, in all these different campaigns. If it finds a search term that does well, and it's not being targeted manually in the keyword-based campaigns, it's going to suggest that you add them. If it finds an ASIN in the auto campaign, for example, or let's say it finds an ASIN in the product targeting campaign, for example, that's doing really well, and it's not in this sponsored display product targeting campaign, the tool is going to suggest you add that ASIN into the product targeting campaign. So that's what I said before about building rules for existing campaigns is great, but if you don't have any campaigns, this tool is great because you can build the campaigns all at the same time, and the rules are custom built. They're custom added into the tool. So that's how quickly that you can launch and use our rule sets. The next screen basically is just adding keywords. So I won't go into that, but it's basically, again, do your keyword research so that you know what keywords that you want to add into your research campaign, or maybe your exact match campaign. Do your ASIN research. So you have a few ASINs to include in your 2 product targeting campaigns here, right? And once you do that, you launch it, and then it's ready to go. So going back to the ad manager, and just to clarify what you just said, once you kind of like want to move from one algorithm to the next algorithm, again, that is what this column is here, bid algorithm, right? So if I wanted to edit that bid algorithm, let's just say that this one was max impressions. So it's a little confusing because the names of this is a little bit different than what's in the campaign builder, but it's the same thing. So target ACOS means scale, right? Because we're focusing on an ACOS as a target. Max impressions means launch, because that's we're focusing on impressions in the launch phase. And max orders is the liquidate stage, because we're just focusing on orders in this particular algorithm. So if I started in max impressions, this basically, if I were to hit apply, target, this would go away because we're not focused on ACOS with this one. If I were to change this to max orders, and if I hit apply, the target ACOS would go away because, again, we're not focused on ACOS in those different algorithms. So all of his campaigns, I believe, are set to target ACOS, right?
I see.
So, and this is also the area if you wanted to adjust the target ACOS of the bid algorithm, telling it what to focus on when it's making bid suggestions. This is also where you do it here. Lastly, on this page, if you wanted to automate any of the bid suggestions, this is the column here. So effectively on the ad manager page, you've got 3 different columns that are dedicated to keyword bids, to bidding suggestions. And I'll show you what those look like in the suggestions page next. And then the rules here, this is not about bids. The rules are about new keywords and negative keywords. The rules are about the search terms, right? So that's kind of the breakdown or between those types of things in our tool. So again, if you create the campaigns, rules are built in. If you add rules manually here, again, you're going to get suggestions. So we're going to look at the suggestions page next. So suggestions is where you go to see what did Adtomic find for me, based on those campaigns you built or those rules that you built. So very similar filters if I wanted to filter that down. But what we're looking at right here is just the bids. We're looking at the bids for the entire account. This is great because you don't have to create rules for bid suggestions. If you have campaigns and you start using Adtomic, within 48 to 72 hours, depending on how much data you have in those PPC,
for sure.
you should start seeing keyword bid suggestions. So you don't have to do anything to get these keyword bid suggestions, which is great. So they are set at a target 30% default ACoS. So if you wanted to change those campaigns default ACoS target, you could either do that individually on the ad manager page that I just showed you, or we have this bid setting section. And the bottom of this is brand new. So you're the first ones to hear about this section right here.
I love it. Yeah.
At the top here again. So this is basically saying any campaigns that were pre-existing that got uploaded into Adtomic, the default ACoS would be 40%. So we just make it really quick and easy for you to be able to change those default ACoSs for our bid algorithm. Maximum bid, self-explanatory. If you don't want to see any kind of keyword bid suggestions and over $3, that means you'll never see a keyword bid higher than $3. You can enter what any amount you want there. Enforce maximum just means that you're going to, if you added this here, you can retroactively reverse any bids that might already be waiting for you that are above that maximum bid. Now, bid suggestion aggressiveness. This is brand new. So what this effectively says is, I want to alter the algorithm to be a little bit more aggressive or less aggressive, or conservative, right? So for bid increases, I can change right now it's set to 100%, which is just middle, normal. But if I wanted to increase the aggressiveness of the bid, so the bid changes, I can do that here just by changing the slider. If I wanted to affect the bid decreases side, I can change that. I can make it a little bit more aggressive, or I can make it a little bit more conservative. So in Adtomic, we're always trying to look for ways to give the user more control. Obviously, we have these great algorithms and everything I just shared with you to give you the bid suggestions. But if you want to even influence those even more, this is the area now where you can do that. So this is a really cool feature that is not even available to all.
I know it's kind of closed beta now.
Yes, it's closed beta. It's right now. I think tomorrow or next week it's getting released to elite. But by the middle of July, this should be visible to all sellers. So depending on when this is launched, you're gonna have this new option called here bid.
That's actually it's super interesting, because I always had in my mind it would be so nice to increase the aggressiveness of the algorithm, and the fact that you guys added that is great. Actually, one question that I had regarding the new tool: when you increase and adjust the aggressiveness into the bids, does it mean increase also, let's say, the amount is suggested to increase and decrease, or is more how often it finds the suggestions for your keywords?
So in this example, you see a suggestion here of 12 cents. So so it was 8 cents. The suggested bid is 12 cents. So if I were to go to the bid aggressiveness, right, then it would be a higher, right? It'd be 15
higher
cents.
steps.
It'd be a higher bid, right? If I were to go for any that are decreasing, again, I can change it. I can increase it or decrease it. So a lot of the times we'll see, kind of low, depending on what the reason is for the bid suggestion. Sometimes it could just be like not getting enough impressions, trying for more, that kind of thing. So sometimes you'll see, so in this example, the increase is only a penny, right? So 3 cents here, 4 cents here, 3 cents here. So sometimes the tool is because it's conservative with it's increasing the bids. We don't want to just waste people's money.
For sure.
So if you want to be more aggressive, then all these, the 4 cents, 6 cents, those would increase, right?
I see. Very nice.
Or if 4 cents is too high to you, you could decrease the aggressiveness of the bids. So that's the beauty of it, is that we're, again, all about just giving you more controls, right?
Yeah, for sure. So, and I think what I love as well about the suggestion tab is that for somebody that has never done a PPC optimization before, you actually learn how to optimize, because just by learning the reasoning behind that change, you start understanding how you actually will do it manually, and you
Yeah,
start understanding the correlation between how you actually manage a PPC account, right? Which is
yeah,
actually a learning thing as well. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. The reasons are very specific. Again, this is based on the algorithm that was selected or the thresholds that were built into the rules.
Mm.
But you can see, low ACOS, room for
Yeah.
higher bid to drive. You can see that there's a method, behind the algorithm without
Right.
telling you exactly what it is. We're giving you what we're trying to accomplish with these increases or decreases, right?
Right.
So
Awesome.
to wrap up on this, if you wanted to apply, you just go ahead and hit the apply suggestion. If you wanted to apply at all, you do that. If you wanted to ignore the suggestion, let's say maybe it's one of those loss leader keywords and it's trying to say
Right.
the bid, you just ignore it, right? If you want to reset, so basically maybe there's a suggestion here and it's on the borderline, like maybe you knew that you just went out of stock, so that's why it's probably telling you to decrease. Okay, reset it, and basically it'll start the date from whatever you set that. So all these
Right.
bid suggestions are based on a certain time period. You can see that this one was suggested quite a bit ago, April 26th.
Bradley again.
Yeah, this
Go
has been
back.
sitting here for a while. This one's been from May 7th. So we're basically looking at the performance of this particular keyword from May 7th to now, right? So that's what we're looking at here when we look at these suggestions, which is really, really, really helpful. New keywords and negative targets. We have to be done in like 2 minutes. So new keywords and negative targets. Again, this is where you go and you can filter it if you want, but this is kind of just where you go to find, hey, these are the keywords that Adtomic found that we suggest you add to certain campaigns. So if you highlight over the check mark, over the apply, it lets you know in this example, coffin shelves is suggested to be added in that one exact match campaign, the second one down, because it's the only one that doesn't exist there, right? So
Yeah.
you can really clearly see where these keywords are going to be added to, and then go ahead and click apply if you want, or apply all. And then all these keywords that have performed pretty well, we've got some really decent ACOSs here. All these keywords are going to get added into those other campaigns so that they can be targeted manually, which is another key element of optimization. Negative targets, of course, also super important. So again, already sorted by spend. So you're right away seeing in the time period that this was added, again, 424, quite a little bit ago, you can see that it spent this much and made no sales. So we're going to say, you know what, let's probably add that as a negative. So in this example, it's just adding to one campaign here. So here's a rule set where there's several. His pink coffin shelf is all in one rule. So that negative is going to get applied to the ones that are two of those, the ones that have keywords. And so that's how quickly it is in order to scan and go through. And so I highly suggest, especially if your campaigns are brand new or if your rules are brand new, go through this, manually look at what is being suggested to you. If you see some things that are incorrect, maybe you need to adjust your rules, and you can do that in the ad manager like I showed you. But once you get to a place where you're comfortable, you can turn on that automation in that bid algorithm or bid automation column on the ad manager page, or you can go into each rule and click on that automate button that I showed you in the actual rule. And then when you do that, you won't have to come here anymore to apply all of these suggestions. You could just let it run because you've already checked it, and all these suggestions that are here will just be automatically. So Bradley doesn't have any automation on, which is why we're seeing all these suggestions, right? If you did have automation on, then last but not least, I just want to cover the change log. This is where you would go, and this is just all the changes in your account.
Yeah.
If it's in Seller Central, if it's in Adtomic, we record everything. So you have automation on, and you just want to know, what was changed for me automatically. This is where you go. You can see, in the past, he does have a little bit of campaigns on automation. So these are the things that were changed for this account automatically by Adtomic. And it looks like, this is just bid changes. So all these occurred for him automatically. So this is really great. Again, if you have automation on and you want to check to see what has happened.
That's very nice, Vince. Yeah, I mean, thank you very much for the demo. I know there are so many more things we can go in depth, which
You
we don't
know,
have time,
they're
unfortunately.
actually really
But
I gave you pretty much everything. There
I
is one
know,
more section here, but this is getting removed soon, so I
yeah,
don't even need to go into this section. It's going to get replaced with something very, very big later this fall. But you know,
thank you.
I gave you the main
I
benefits of
appreciate
it.
it.
There's a
Yeah,
couple of things we didn't talk about. There's keyword tracker integration. There's some target detail pages
yeah,
that
we can do another episode for that for sure. I mean, there are
yeah,
so
we
many
could
things we
definitely
can
do
talk,
another episode maybe
strategy, all
in the
that.
fall. In the fall,
Yeah,
when we have all these, we have a lot more new releases that are coming out for the tool.
wow.
So would love to come back.
Can't wait. Yeah, can't wait. Thank you very much. So yeah, if you want, if you can share with the audience how people can reach out to you if they have any questions about
Yeah,
Adtomic. Yeah, and also if you want to mention just for people to understand which plan they should get for this, if there
yeah.
is
This is
any
a
discount, anything.
sure.
Yeah.
This is available on the Diamond plan only. So that's our mid-tier plan,
Mm-hmm.
and it's right now. I don't believe we have any. Well, I have a promotion that runs for people that come to my Tacos Tuesday session. So I have a monthly training session that I do. It's the first Tuesday of each month. So the viewers that come to that get that
Awesome.
discount code. I don't remember it offhand, or I would say it. But
Yeah,
if you
we put it afterwards in the description. Yeah,
yeah,
for
we can
sure.
put it in the description. If people are interested in those training sessions, we can put a link to the landing page so they can sign up and they can get notified every single month of the topic that I'm going to be covering. Typically,
Awesome.
it's something with Adtomic, but it's also just talking about PPC in general, and it's Q&A, so sellers can ask me questions directly about their PPC accounts. So that's the best way to get a hold of me, or find me on LinkedIn. Just under my name, Vincent Montero. I think I use my full name in LinkedIn, but always happy to connect with people there and even chat with people. But yeah, those are the best ways.
That's great. So yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Looking forward to have you on the next one. Okay. So
Sounds good. Thank you,
thank
Vincenzo.
you. Bye
All
bye.
right. Bye bye.